At 95, Joanne Woodward has reached an age where memory softens into wisdom and truth feels less like revelation and more like quiet clarity. For decades, she was known not only as one of America's finest actresses, but also as one half of Hollywood's most enduring marriage. Yet Woodward always resisted oversharing, believing that love survived best when protected from constant examination. Now, in the reflective calm of her later years, she has spoken with gentle honesty about Paul Newman, not to rewrite history, but to deepen it. Her words are not dramatic confessions or myth-breaking revelations. Instead, they are thoughtful, measured reflections on a shared life built on laughter, discipline, and respect. At this stage, Woodward's truth is not about glamour or legend, but about what remains when fame fades and only the essence of love endures. Early roots and the making of an actress. Joanne Trimier. Woodward was born on February 27, 1930, in Thomasville, Georgia, far removed from the bright lights of Hollywood. From an early age, she was captivated by stories and performance, drawn to films and stage plays that hinted at emotional depth and human complexity. Her fascination matured into purpose during her studies in drama at Louisiana State University, where she began shaping her craft with seriousness and discipline. Unlike many who chased stardom, Woodward was driven by curiosity and a desire to understand people. After college, she moved to New York City and immersed herself in theatre and early television, studying under Sanford Meisner. This grounding in realism defined her acting style, allowing her performances to feel intimate, thoughtful, and deeply human, rather than theatrical or manufactured. Breaking through with intelligence and courage. Woodward's rise to prominence came not through spectacle, but through skill and bravery. In 1957, she stunned audiences with The Three Faces of Eve, portraying a woman with dissociative identities at a time when such subjects were rarely explored with sensitivity. Her performance was nuanced, compassionate, and fearless, earning her the Academy Award for Best Actress. The role changed not only her career, but also the expectations placed on women in film. Woodward proved that complexity, not glamour, could command attention. Rather than being boxed into star personas, she pursued characters that reflected emotional truth. This commitment carried through decades of work, earning her respect across film, television, and theatre. She became known as an actress who chose meaning over momentum, depth over visibility, and integrity over trend. A career guided by values, not vanity. Across 5 decades, Joanne Woodward built a body of work defined by restraint and purpose. Films such as Rachel, Summer Wishes, Winter Dreams, and The Effect of Gamma Rays on Man in the Moon Marigolds showcased her willingness to explore vulnerability, aging, and inner conflict. She also stepped behind the camera as a producer and director, often championing stories centered on women's experiences. Away from film sets, Woodward dedicated herself to the arts community, particularly through her leadership at the Westport Country Playhouse. There, she mentored young talent and revitalized a historic space for storytelling. Her career was never about quantity or constant relevance. Instead, it reflected a belief that art should illuminate life honestly, even when that honesty was quiet, uncomfortable, or unfashionable. Meeting Paul Newman. Before the legend, Joanne Woodward met Paul Newman long before either became a household name. Their first encounters were unremarkable on the surface: shared auditions, understudy roles, and the common frustrations of young actors trying to be seen. In 1953, both were involved with the Broadway production of Picnic, learning their craft in the margins rather than the spotlight. What drew them together was not instant romance, but recognition. They respected each other's seriousness, discipline, and refusal to settle for superficial success. Friendship grew gradually, grounded in shared ambition and mutual understanding. Those early years were marked by uncertainty and persistence, conditions that allowed their connection to develop naturally, without pretense. In hindsight, Woodward often reflected that their bond was built before fame complicated everything. Love, timing, and a shared turning point. By the time The Long Hot Summer brought Woodward and Newman together on screen in 1957, both were standing at the edge of major careers. The chemistry audiences noticed reflected something already present, a deep emotional alignment shaped by years of quiet familiarity. As Newman navigated personal change and Woodward entered a defining professional moment, their relationship deepened under intense public attention. They married in January 1958, choosing commitment at a moment of rapid transformation. Only weeks later, Woodward won her Academy Award, marking an extraordinary convergence of personal and professional milestones. Their marriage did not emerge from fantasy, but from conscious choice. They understood the demands of ambition and fame and entered their life together with open eyes, grounded expectations, and a shared respect for one another's independence. A marriage built on humour and respect. For 50 years, Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman shared a marriage that defied Hollywood convention. When asked about its longevity, Woodward often pointed not to romance, but to humour and companionship. Laughter, she believed, carried them through exhaustion, disagreement, and pressure. Newman echoed this sentiment, describing their relationship as a balance of desire, patience, and mutual respect. Fidelity was never framed as sacrifice, but as preference, a reflection of genuine contentment rather than obligation. Together, they raised 3 daughters while maintaining demanding careers, choosing a life largely removed from Hollywood's constant social circuit. Their home became a place of normalcy, where work, parenting, and quiet routines mattered more than image. Love for them was not performance, but practice. Fame, privacy, and choosing what to protect. Despite their celebrity, Woodward and Newman were intentional about privacy. They understood that constant exposure could erode intimacy, so they drew firm boundaries around their personal life. Rumors and speculations circulated over the years, but they refused to engage with narratives that did not belong to them. Woodward later explained that protecting their marriage meant protecting silence, the freedom to argue, reconcile, and grow without commentary. Their public image remained polished, but their private life was deliberately ordinary. This separation allowed them to endure pressures that fractured many other relationships. In her later reflections, Woodward emphasized that love survives not through perfection, but through trust, discretion, and the willingness to keep something sacred in a world eager to consume everything. Remembering Paul Newman beyond the icon. At 95, Woodward speaks of Paul Newman not as a legend, but as a man defined by kindness, curiosity, and moral clarity. She remembers his generosity, his restlessness, and his unwavering sense of responsibility toward others. Beyond acting, his philanthropic work and commitment to social causes reflected values they shared deeply. What she misses most are not grand gestures, but the small rituals, shared glances, private jokes, and quiet understanding built over decades. Newman, in her words, was a partner who challenged her intellectually and supported her unconditionally. Their equality mattered deeply to her. They did not compete or overshadow one another. Instead, they evolved together, respecting each other's craft and autonomy in a way that strengthened both their love and their work. The truth that remains at the end. In finally speaking with openness, Joanne Woodward does not dismantle the myth of her marriage to Paul Newman, she humanizes it. The truth she shares is not dramatic or disillusioning. It is grounded, tender, and earned through time. Their life together, she says, was not perfect, but it was real, shaped by effort, laughter, and choice. At 95, her reflections carry no need for validation, only gratitude. Love, as she describes it, is not sustained by fame or passion alone, but by shared values and daily commitment. In honouring Paul Newman, Woodward offers a lasting lesson, that the most meaningful legacies are built quietly through respect, devotion, and the courage to live authentically together, long after the spotlight fades.